Chiefs Kingdom, ACU crew, welcome back for another live podcast for that ass, baby. What's going on today, Michael? How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. We got a lot of stuff to jump into today. We're going to talk about some Chiefs. We got Chiefs versus Broncos this week. Big time division rivalry we got going. But before we get going, let's talk about our sponsor of today's episode. We got BetUS here. Head over to betus.com. Check out what they got going on right now. If you use the code YouTube150, you get 150% deposit match bonus on your first deposit. And on your next two, you get 125% deposit match bonuses. These are up to $2,000. So take advantage of all those free plays you can make with those deposit matches. The site is easy to use. There's so many props on there you can find, get into. Go to betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube150. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you. Steve, let's jump right into the action today. So what we heard yesterday was that Charles Goldman, our boy Charles Goldman from A to Z Sports, has announced that he thinks that this week we're going to get Nazeeh Johnson back in the corner room, that he's over the concussion. The concussion is done, okay? And we may even get back Mike Danna from the hurt breast. The hurt titty, the pec muscle.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's great, right? The more depth we have, the better. Now, Nazeeh Johnson, we could definitely use him at times. And then, of course, Mike Danna's a rotational piece. And now that we have Uche, who played 9 snaps in the last game. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of rotation on the edge there, too. And then we still got Omenihu coming back here in a month or so.
Yeah, I think the Omenihu return is going to be nice. That's probably going to be pretty close to the time that you're going to get back Isaiah Pacheco as well. I think once Pacheco gets back, our running back room becomes, good night, that becomes like a top 3 to 5 running back room in football, doesn't it?
Man, there's just so much that could happen with this team by the end of the year. If you just get some pieces back from injured players, all of a sudden this team becomes scary, very deep and just ridiculous, a lot of talent on the roster.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think the running back room goes, at minimum top 5 in the NFL. I mean, since Kareem Hunt has been back here, it has been crazy. I don't think he played in week 3 versus the Falcons, or maybe he played a few snaps. I can't really remember, but I know Carson Steele had a nice game that game. He had 72 rushing yards, which led the team. And then I believe that Kareem Hunt picked up on week 4 versus the Chargers, and he has led the team in rushing 5 straight weeks, 69 yards, 100 plus versus New Orleans, I believe. He had 75, 78, somewhere in that ballpark versus the 49ers. Not as big of a game versus the Raiders back in week 8. I remember it was somewhere around the 50 mark. But he broke 100 last game versus the Bucs, versus what was supposed to be a stacked box, hard to run on team. People said, Mike, you're crazy if you think Kareem Hunt's going to be able to do anything versus the Bucs. They're too good. And I said, nay. He's going to have his best game of the season, and he did. 106 yards on the ground. And that was also a big breakout game for Kelsey, too. Kelsey hit 100 yards, and in week 8 versus the Raiders, he hit 90 yards. So Kelsey's starting to find his stride a little bit. And, of course, back in week 4, I think he had 89, 90, somewhere in that range versus the Chargers. He always eats versus the Chargers. But Kelsey's starting to come on a little bit. You're starting to see Kelsey get back in the rhythm, find the rhythm of the offense. Kareem Hunt is just, he's balling out. He's found the fountain of youth. This dude's drinking the water of the fountain of youth every day. He's bathing in it. He's peeing in it. He's dunking his head. He's just partying in it, man.
In it.
Pool party for this dude in the fountain of youth. And I'm glad. So I feel like the Chiefs offense finding a stride. And now that we got DeAndre Hopkins in the mix, and it looks like he and Patrick Mahomes has found some kind of quick chemistry, man. I don't see how this offense and our continuation of getting healthier is not going to just make this team a juggernaut come probably, week 16, 17, 18, right as we're getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, what if you get Hollywood Brown back before the playoffs?
I mean,
it's just a lot.
Insane.
There's a lot there. But, no, you mentioned the quick connection with Patrick Mahomes and D-Hop. That's something that Matt Nagy talked about yesterday. He said that it was obviously a quick chemistry that got built, but he thinks there's still a massive room for growth. So the connection between Patrick Mahomes and D-Hop is just getting started. So there's that. And you mentioned Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's the real deal, man. When he's in Andy Reid's offense, he is a top running back in the league. It's been that way since he was drafted. You know, when he left, he had to go to the bum ass Cleveland Browns. It wasn't the same. He had to split carries with Nick Chubb and play second fiddle to Chubby. But
bum ass Browns.
Kareem Hunt's getting it done, and Kelsey coming on. Of course, that's something that needed to happen. Terribly slow start for Kelsey this year. I don't know if it's kind of like because he's old now. You know, like when I get out of bed in the day, it's a slow start these days.
Well, Kelsey's kind of starts all the years slow. He has been over the past few years, but he's fine. He's fine. Steve, you mentioned Matt Nagy. Look at this story that just come out this morning, dropped from CBS. They said that Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy has been named for a potential head coaching job as we go into the coaching hiring cycle yet again, says CBS Sports. And I wrote, what does Chiefs Kingdom think about this? Something says y'all wouldn't lose much sleep over it. It sounds like Chiefs Kingdom would not be terribly sad about it if Matt Nagy was to take a coaching job somewhere.
Matt Nagy fell into that the Pitchfork crew. At one point,
there's a lot of pitchfork,
right? Like just like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Sky Moore. There was Matt Nagy. It's funny because Spags was in that Pitchfork crew for a while.
Spags is the only person to successfully escape the Pitchfork crew.
Yeah,
of Chiefs Kingdom.
But there's always those players in that. Joshua Williams in the Pitchfork crew right now, trying to work his way out. Like,
yeah, it's not happening. Sky Moore was in it. I mean, he was successfully forked. Put a fork in him. He's done. Yeah. He got forked. Hey, they said fork you. He got forked. He's gone. Okay. This dude's coming off of a core injury. The only thing that he's injured was his hurt feelings.
Right. Well, so the thing with Matt Nagy is if he were to go take a head coaching job, good for him if that's what he wants to do. I think he really wanted a head coaching job. He took a bad one with the Bears and he got put in a bad place and he was not successful, right? And it made him look pretty bad, but really I think he just never should have taken that job. It was just a poor decision.
Isn't that what you got to do, though? If you're a new coach trying to get into the head coaching ranks, you've got to take one of those bad, crappy jobs there, the low tiers.
Yeah, but, I mean, the chances of him actually doing anything there were not great. So, I mean, it kind of set himself up for what happened. But
what do you think about maybe Nagy to I don't know if they would do it this early, but what about the Panthers? The Panthers have some Chiefs front office in their front office, some ex-Chiefs got big forehead man. Big Frankenstein head.
They have some pieces. I mean, they're a poorly ran franchise, though. It's kind of the same deal.
But don't you feel like that's probably where, like, it's going to be a job just like that Nagy's going to get hired on if that happens?
I guess it just depends on how you see it. If you can be patient and wait for a decent job to open, then that's one thing. If you don't think you have that opportunity, then I guess you take it and
what's the best coaching job you could take this offseason, you think?
I'm not for sure. I haven't really
Jets,
put much thought into that. I don't think that's going to work. But as far as the Chiefs are concerned, I don't care who gets Matt Nagy. I don't care where he goes. I don't care how good he is of a head coach at somewhere else. It doesn't matter to me. But what I do know is that he has a really good chemistry with Patrick Mahomes, and the guys seem to like Matt Nagy. A lot of people want to talk about his play calling, but I think that's just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, along with Andy Reid. Like, as long as you have a decent offensive coordinator along with Andy Reid, I think you'll be fine. Like, it's not going to be that much different. I don't think that, like, a lot of people think the offense is a lot different from when it was when Eric Bieniemy was here. I don't really think it is. Like, and the more I go back and look at it, I kind of feel like it's had its ups and downs throughout. There was a little more firepower back in the day, but I think that had a lot to do with Tyreek Hill more than it did Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, well, the one thing I will say, though, is Eric Bieniemy's offense didn't seem to have so many just stale moments. It seems like just everything Nagy does has just been a stale moment.
You say that, but go back and watch it. You say that.
Do you want to go back and watch it?
Let's go to the obvious one. What about the second half of the AFC Championship versus the Bengals? When we had that game,
bad one.
We had the game in hand.
But isn't that one of the only ones you can actually think of off the top of your head?
No, go back and watch some of the regular season games, too. It's the same kind of deal. It would be really stagnant, and then all of a sudden,
it's one of those things where the grass always seems to be greener, no matter what it is, right?
Right. But you know what? Water your damn grass.
Water that grass. So yeah, man. Jumping back into this week's game versus the Denver Broncos. I hate the Denver Broncos. Look, a lot of Chiefs Kingdom say, "Oh,
suck.
our biggest rivals, the Raiders. I hate the Raiders." For some reason, I hate the Broncos more than anybody else in our division. I'm probably on the slim majority there, but I absolutely cannot stand the Denver Broncos. I never have. They're always like this off-season, like it's a media darling. They always just want to win the off-season every year. Doesn't matter. They used to just chase everything. Like they'd have to go out and get Peyton Manning. You had to make a huge splash. You had to buy championships. I just don't like the Denver Broncos. I don't like their ugly uniforms. I don't like their stupid looking faces. I never liked John Elway's dumb looking mug, his horse teeth. I just don't like the Broncos, man. Convince me I'm wrong here. Like, should I hate the Raiders more?
I hate them equally, probably. I think I hate the Raiders a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. But I hate the Broncos too. I equally hate a lot of teams. I just throw them in the pit.
Somebody threw up a thing yesterday on X, and they said, name a team and name a player that you love besides the Chiefs. And I just look at that and I cringe. I'm like, dude, I don't like any other team besides the Chiefs. If the Chiefs didn't exist, I wouldn't even watch freaking NFL football.
It's funny because a lot of, like, that's the thing. Like
I could care less.
Massive Chiefs fans, and we do this channel, we do the podcast, we do all kinds of Chiefs content. So, like, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, they must love the NFL. You know, they must know so much about the NFL. And I'll tell you this, like, the Chiefs played the Monday night game this last week. I didn't watch 1 second of any game on Sunday.
It doesn't matter.
Because I don't care.
It's too early in the season for any of the outcomes basically to affect what it's probably going to look like. And even if it does affect it, it's going to be some game that you never even thought about.
And there was a game last night, Mike. There was a game last night.
Right. Like last night probably affected us. It's fun to watch the Bengals lose. But did you really want to see the Ravens win too? I mean, at the end of the year, the Ravens are going to be there, but the Ravens are the one that's going to battle you for the number 1 seed, not the freaking Bengals. The Bengals may fall ass backwards into the playoffs if they can win like 6 out of their next 7, which is not going to happen. The Bengals are a bad football team, but every time they play the Chiefs, they're God's gift to the game, okay? It's just the way it always works out. But on a positive note, maybe them losing and not getting in, you might not have to play them at all in the playoffs.
Right. While we're on the subject, Chief KT with the 2 bomb says, are the Ravens not that impressive, or am I tripping? I don't think either of the teams that played last night, once again, disclaimer, I did not watch that game, but I did watch highlights, okay? I don't think either of those teams are, like, super impressive.
I feel like watching the Ravens and watching other teams play football that's not the Chiefs is like watching paint dry.
I hate it. Watching the Ravens is like watching a high school team that doesn't have a quarterback that can throw the ball.
It's like going to Central Michigan somewhere, finding the most random high school team you can find, sitting down in the bleachers and watching them run a wing tee offense.
Yeah, just something lame.
It is the most atrocious crap I've ever seen. Now, look, I'll give it to them. They're okay. But the Ravens defense gets away with a lot. They want to talk about the Chiefs get away with a lot of calls. The Ravens get away with so much. I want to say there was one play where they had 17 different face masks in the same play. Not a single call. They hit Joe Burrow literally 17 seconds after the play was over and didn't even get a call on one of them. Like, why is it that only the Chiefs get the media outrage over this? But yeah,
no
going back
one
to the
cared
Ravens,
last night.
not that impressive. They're not that good. We've already handled them once. And to be honest, if we had our full strength and towards the end of the year, we beat them by more than that.
The Ravens live and die by Lamar Jackson's athleticism.
Yes.
That's literally it. They went and got Derrick Henry to further run the ball, which, I mean, that's
Derrick Henry's already hit 1,000 yards rushing this year, which is
Derrick Henry's an absolute monster.
wild.
So for what they do, that was a good pickup for them. But at the same time, like, they're just so one-dimensional.
Do you feel like, though, when it comes to the meat and potatoes of the playoffs, they are still going to want the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands, and they will neglect Derrick Henry yet again when it counts, and Lamar Jackson will choke.
Well, it's fine it's fine if they don't neglect Derrick Henry. If we're playing them in the playoffs and they decide they want to try to beat us with Derrick Henry, that's fine. Let's do it. Nick Bolton will have something to say about that.
Right. I think their defense is number 1 in football, stopping the run, but we're number 3. So the Ravens don't have a big at any position. Are the Ravens better than us at any key metric of the football game? They're just not.
Nope. I agree. John Clifford with the 5 bomb says, I live in Colorado wearing my Mahomie jersey for lunch. We just keep dominating and makes it so fun. Heck yeah, man. So, hey, John Clifford's the ultimate tro over there in Colorado with Mahomes jersey. So you're doing the Lord's work out there, John Clifford. Appreciate the 5.
Yeah, rub it in on them. Do you know, I read something today. It said the last time somebody won the AFC West that wasn't the Broncos or the Chiefs, MySpace was the go-to. There was like 100 million users on MySpace or something. Isn't that insane to think about? I don't even think there might be some kids out there watching that are a certain age that don't even know what MySpace is.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't know what that is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that is as long as it's been since the Raiders or the Chargers have won the division. That is insane.
Des the Gym, been a member for 11 months now. We appreciate you, Des. Says KC would have to fall apart for Baltimore to get the 1 seed since KC already beat them. Cincy losing meant their playoff chances are basically done. I think the Bengals would have to win out. Like, pretty much.
I read something today that said they would probably have a decent shot if they won 5 of their next 7. So they're saying only 5 games and they would have a decent
Well,
shot.
that's possible for them. But I guess it just depends on how bad everybody else sucks, right? It's not
I feel
really
like the
about them.
AFC's kind of down this year, right? It's just maybe the Chiefs, the Ravens, Texans, and everything else is just kind of a long shot. The Bills maybe you throw in there?
Well, I think the NFL itself is down a little bit this year.
I think it's down across the board. I literally think the Lions and the Chiefs might be the 2
Yeah.
just the big teams.
Yeah, and since the Lions are putting up high points and against bad teams, people are automatically like, "Oh, they're the most dangerous and the best team ever. Don't want to play the Lions." Like, no one gives a shit about the Lions. The Chiefs don't care about the Lions.
Dude, you got to
come
prove.
on.
Look, you have to prove that head coach, pretty good. Dan Campbell, pretty good. Decent quarterback, all that stuff. But these guys have not proven that they are winners and can win when it counts. Whereas on our side, yeah, it's not as impressive, but we've literally been to 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls.
I mean, great. You put up 52 points against the Titans. Try putting up 52 points against our defense, please. We'll see how many times that happens. I mean, it would have to be a
that's what I'm
complete
saying.
utter
Like,
meltdown.
we have a winning pedigree. We have Andy Reid. You got Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones. These guys know how to win when it matters.
Spags ain't
we
letting
win
you put
close
up
games.
52 points.
Spags knows how to beat you. Spags will game plan for you. If you get 2 weeks to game plan for Detroit, and it's just not a beginning of the season game or a preseason game. They've beat us in the preseason. They beat us game 1 where we sucked. Kadarius Toney was their MVP that game. It took one of our own guys sabotaging the entire game to get a win.
We're talking Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes.
You know,
okay?
Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, I don't think's ever beat Jared Goff in an NFL game.
What are they? They've only played twice. Once was with the Lions at the beginning of last season when Kadarius Toney gave them 14 points. Chris Jones didn't play. Travis Kelce didn't play.
Right.
And then the other time was that shootout game that they were supposed to be in
where
Mexico City, but I
the
think they
turf
played
was
in
bad in
California,
Mexico, and they
or-
moved it up.
And then there was fires going on. And they made
That
this
was
big
a
story
shootout,
about it,
bro.
Yeah.
But I feel like the NFL had an agenda there, baby. They wanted they wanted California to feel good about something after their whole entire state got burnt.
Shout out Dan Akers with the 5 bomb. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the support.
Appreciate
you
you,
guys.
Dan.
Put some love in the chat for the guys that are supporting the channel today. Appreciate you guys. Also, thanks for being here. Kind of a midday live stream. A little impromptu. We're just going to talk some Chiefs today, man. We might go with whatever you guys lead us to in the chat or whatever else. I think they have some pressers coming up today at 2, so maybe we'll learn some things later on today. But appreciate you guys being here. Please hit that like button for us. It just takes a second. It helps us out tremendously. It helps it get out to more people. We have 597 in the chat right now across 3 platforms, so we appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on X, repost this out to your followers. If you're on Facebook, hit the like button. Share it with your friends. But appreciate you guys a lot. Mike, so we're not going to get super far in depth with the Denver Broncos matchup because that's what we'll do on Saturday night, right? It's tailgate. Yeah. But the Denver Broncos, we'll touch on it just real quick. They're better than they have been the last couple of years. Like, I think Sean Payton getting there has done what they wanted it to do. It's just a slower process. Like, people thought it was going to happen overnight. We knew that wasn't going to happen.
And that's when they believed in Russ.
Right, but then now they got Bo Nix. Bo Nix isn't bad. He's not a bad quarterback. You actually thought he'd be okay. And I think him with Sean Payton's a pretty good marriage. He's not been great this year, but he is probably the second best rookie quarterback so far statistically after Jaden Daniels. So I mean, like, he's not terrible. Like, they're a lot better than they have been. Do you think that we'll notice that in this game coming up, or do you think it's going to be more of the same that we've seen all year, no matter who we're playing? Close game, grind it out, find a way to win.
Well, look, going to Bo Nix, I thought Bo Nix could have possibly been the best performing quarterback. I think that was before, because you kind of knew where Caleb Williams was stepping into with the Bears.
Yeah, he stinks anyway.
It was okay. Like, it was a decent situation for him coming in. Like, he had a lot of weapons and things. I think Jaden Daniels just coming out of nowhere with the Commanders just being a decent team kind of just flew under the radar, and that just feels weird. So I think at the beginning of the season, you may have thought Bo Nix pairing with Sean Payton could have probably been the best performing quarterback out of everybody, especially since the dude's 24 years old. The dude's played more football than half the rookies that got drafted last year. Right. So I think that what it is he's smart. He doesn't look, he's not going to wow you with his arm talent. He's not going to take a lot of crazy chances or anything like that. He's just a solid QB, but it's not nothing that the Chiefs shouldn't be able to dominate. And I think Spags said that yesterday in his presser. He was like, man, I forgot that the dude's 24 years old, because on the field, he don't look it. And that's what I say. Like, he's not going to do things that beat the team, but he could. Like, he's still got that potential, because I don't think he's like a dynamic top 10 quarterback in this league when it's all said and done. No. I think he's just going to be like that. He's one step above game manager at this point in his career. And at this point in his career, he's just game manager. That's what he is. So, yeah.
Are you talking about Bo Nix?
Yeah, we're going to see more of the same here.
At this point in his career, it's like
I don't mean that. I'm just saying at any point in his career, I don't think he's going to be much more.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Than a top tier game manager.
Funny. Spag said he didn't look 24 years old on the field or whatever, but I tell you what, in that picture I saw where it was Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix, it was like a little hype picture somebody had put out for the game coming up. He looks like Patrick Mahomes' grandpa. Like, that guy's so old and he's a rookie.
This dude's a rookie, dude, and he has 7 grandchildren.
Dude, it's hilarious.
It's insane.
I love it.
I don't know. But yeah, going back to your point, I think that this game's gonna look like the rest of these games we're watching all year. Like, because the Broncos have a great defense, and then it's like, well, is our offense going to be able to hold it together for 4 full quarters and put points on the board, or are we going to go through long droughts of punting the ball and 3 and outs?
Right. 30 seconds on this one, Mike, and then I'll get to the super chat. I just want you to answer this. Do you think Pat Surtain is going to shadow DeAndre Hopkins this week, or do you think they'll be able to work DeAndre Hopkins around a little bit to get mismatches?
I think they'll work him. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is enough of a... At this late in his career, I just don't think teams see him as like that dominant of a number one. I think they would feel comfortable. Now, if he beats the guys a few times in the first few quarters, you might see him getting shadowed more in the second half or something.
All right, cool. I was kind of wondering about that myself. So, Perry with the 10 bomb says, yes, afternoon delight live cast for that ass. Does going undefeated make you nervous? And do you think if the Chiefs were 16-0 that Andy would rest his starters or play them? So, no, it doesn't make me nervous. Like, I don't think it's really a thing, right? Like, if it were to happen, then so be it. But, I mean, it's on the table. That's what I always say. Like, it's possible. We haven't lost yet, but it's not something I'll think.
Right, it's on the table, Steve. Like, look, I'm not married, so maybe I could get married to, like, Selena Gomez. It's on the table still. But what's the likelihood?
Yeah, well, you got to find somebody a little bit richer. You got to go bigger. I mean, Kelsey even went for Swift.
Well, look, I don't have the same mustache as Travis Kelce.
No, but it doesn't make us nervous because I don't think it really matters. And I don't think the team's even trying to do that. I don't think that's a thing. So that I'm not nervous about that, no. If they're 16-0, would Andy rest his starters or play them? He'll rest them. I almost know Andy Reid.
I don't know.
No,
I think he would allow the players to decide what they want to do. Do you guys want to chase history and go for 17-0, or do y'all don't want to do it? What's the chances and the probability you're going to go out there and every single playmaker is going to get injured in one game?
The last game of the season is against the Donkeys. So
you don't think they don't want to close? Dude, if you had a perfect season and Denver knocked you out of it, you never hear the end of it.
That's right. But if you don't play any starters and you lose that game, it's not a big deal. You chose not to play the starters. And so
I still think they would play them. If you got to that late in the season, I think you'd do it. I think the players,
I don't know.
These guys want to win. Like, Mahomes and them are so competitive, dude. You'd never get them out of this game.
But do they care about that kind of thing? Do they care about the little stat things?
I think you'd care about that.
Like, Travis Kelce wouldn't even get in the game last year to get 17 yards to continue
his 1,000
yards. That was a personal
accolade, though. I think it's undefeated's a team accolade.
I don't know. I would love to think that you're right. I would love to think that you're right and they would do that, but I don't know if they would. I really don't.
I don't think you have to do it because at some point the inevitable Chiefs play down to their opponent and get caught with their pants down is going to happen at some point. Like, right? It usually starts happening sometime around late November and December. You'll get a few of those.
They do like to waltz out to the 50-yard lines and take a big dump sometimes.
Yeah, they'll do that every once in a while. And so far they've got away with it maybe 3 times this year already. Yeah. So we'll see.
Appreciate the 10, Perry. Y'all show some love in the chat for Perry. Mike, what about just in general? You know, we're 9 weeks into the season. Well, 9 games into the season, I should say now. In general, how are you feeling about this team? Is it like, do you think this team can get so much more better, like as far as defensively, because that's what normally happens last half of the season? Do you think the offense is starting to find a rhythm? Like, how do you just feel like generally about the Chiefs right now?
I'm pleased. I mean, we're undefeated. It's not looked the greatest. But when you take all things considered, man, we've just been bombarded with injuries. It's been since day one. Look, Andy Reid should be coach of the year right now. There should be no question. The dude is game planned an undefeated season without his wide receiver 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Who would have ever thought signing Hollywood in the offseason, having Travis Kelce on this team, what else? Drafting Xavier Worthy in the first round, a dynamic playmaker. You've also got Rashee Rice coming into his second season. Who would have ever thought that we're going into week 10 and the leading Chiefs receiver would come from Juju Smith-Schuster getting 130 yards versus the Saints? Who would have ever thought that was possible? If you would have told us before we even signed Juju that at some point this year, Juju Smith-Schuster will be the leading receiver at 130 yards in a game in week 10, you would literally be like, what happened? And so we've done this all, and that's just the receiver room. We don't have the number one running back that we've had on IR. Right. Andy has done a superb job, and I know he gets cute sometimes, and it just comes with the territory. I tweeted yesterday that we've ran a league-leading 24 trick plays this year. 24 trick plays in 8 games is what we've played. 24 trick plays. That's 3 per game average, and I bet you 66% of them come in the red zone. So it's just one of those things where it's like sometimes Andy does get a little too smart, a little too cute, but I feel like he's adapted this year. He's adapted to his defense. He's adapted to the run game when it counts. He found a way to win with a 12 and 13 tight end personnel for 2 or 3 weeks. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just believe I'm fine with where we are, and I think we only get stronger going forward.
Right. And just to recap for the guys and gals that came in late today, we hinted at players returning in the title of the video. We do have a source that says that Nazeeh Johnson could be back this week in the cornerback room, and also Mike Danna could be back from his pectoral injury. So just some rotational pieces there. Nothing crazy, nothing major. But we also have to look forward to Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Omenihu coming back towards the end of this month, early December. So, I mean, just a lot of pieces are going to fall back into place, and the Chiefs are going to have a lot of toys to play with. And then we're talking later into the season, if Hollywood Brown can find a way back into this wide receiver room, I mean, this team could just be loaded.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I want to say just everything that happened last game, the way Mahomes landed on that ankle, just the fact that, hopefully that turned out to be kind of nothing. Like, he's been able to practice all week. It's not been super limited.
Right.
And that's a big one. Like, look, we've went through a lot of stuff. And honestly, if Mahomes would have missed a game or two due to an ankle and you had to rest him up, I would have been completely fine with Carson Wentz. I have no doubt that this team cannot win. Even without Patrick Mahomes, this team can find ways to win. Andy Reid can find ways to win in this league. And I don't think Carson Wentz is that far. I mean, it's a far downgrade from Mahomes, but it's not
anybody
that far.
Is.
But it's not that far off from what everybody else's top tier guy is. I mean, right. Yeah, you've got the Lamars and you've got the Burrows and you've got the Josh Allens of the world. But I mean, Carson Wentz is right there. He probably starts for 10 other teams minimum in this league.
Yeah, especially with Andy Reid. Like, I just think that, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, you say it's a far cry from Patrick Mahomes, which it is, but I mean, isn't pretty much everybody in the league?
That's what I'm saying.
It's so, Yeah, it is what it is. We got a Facebook user in the house. It doesn't say the name, so I can't read it. But it says Mike Danna and Josh Uche going to get back to work. And when Charles Omenihu gets back, it's lights out for opposing offenses. What do you think about that, Mike? Do you think just adding the Joshua Uche to the team, getting Mike Danna back as a rotational piece, and then getting back Charles Omenihu, who ate in Spag's offense and in a small window last year, do you think it could just get to the point where this defense is just a nightmare for teams?
Yeah, we only seen Uche play 9 snaps last week. I tweeted that he had 1 tackle, he had 1 hurry. He did score his lowest rated PFF score for pass rush that he had all year, but he only got like 7 chances to do it. That was the moral of the story. Some people took that as like I was trying to dog on Uche for scoring low, and they're like, well, he was going against Tristan Wirfs. I'm like, I don't care who he's going against. The story was not to dog on him just because I give his pass rush grade. The story was to say he only got 9 snaps, and that is going to increase. Yes. And once that increases, everything increases.
So I believe his toes in the water a little bit.
Yeah, once he gets going, he is going to get going. And then Mike Danna always seems to play. Danna is not he's not a game changer. He's not a top tier guy, but he is such a good piece to have in a rotation. He always seems to make a nice play when you need it, to be honest. Like, what would you do without Mike Danna versus the Chargers for the past like 3 years?
Right. And then he goes on to say Kareem and Juju are going to keep lighting it up, and I think D-Hop is about to have a highlight reel finish to this season. Totally agree, man. I think Juju, like the fact that when Juju comes back and he's healthy, the fact that you have a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, he's young, but he's had a lot of experience in this league. He's had a lot of success in this league. You're going to have him as like a wide receiver 4, which is wild to think about. So, I mean, the wide receiver room itself, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins and then bringing Juju back, even with Rashee Rice going out injured, even with Marquise Brown being out injured, you still have a 10x wide receiver room than you did last season. Like, it's not even close. So, and I think that the DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes chemistry is going to keep going up, and you're going to keep seeing more and more highlight plays there. So D-Hop's just a different level of receiver than we've ever had, even at 32 years old. Our old pal Julia Gulia says, would Hollywood be effective considering he's missed all year? So if he were to come back at the end of the season, Mike, and they were to rotate him in there as far as playoffs, do you think he'd be effective, or do you think it could be a detriment because you're just throwing a guy in there that hasn't played all year?
Well, he did get the luxury of practicing a lot of the offseason with Mahomes. So I still think there'd be a certain chemistry. Depending on how he heals up, which it was a collarbone. It was not a lower body thing. It's not going to affect his shiftiness. It would maybe
sternoclavicular joint.
Right. It would maybe affect his game speed, maybe his conditioning. But that I would say he's probably not lost none of that. He can go out and do all that right now. He could probably do that a week after he had the surgery. I don't think he would not be effective, in my opinion. I think he'd be completely fine.
I think you got to consider what Hollywood Brown can do for an offense. I mean, really, even if he's not, like, say he hadn't even played in the offense, you could say they got him in a trade like they did DeAndre Hopkins. He's still enough of an experienced wide receiver to go out and do some damage, especially considering he's a 4.2 guy. Like, he's just got a lot of speed. And then something else that helps, too, is not only does he have a little bit of chemistry built up with Mahomes because of the entire offseason, but he also has chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins. They played together in Arizona, so they know how each other likes to play, so they can mesh together on the field well. So I think if they were to bring him back at the end of the year, he might not get like a huge workload, but I think he'd be just fine blending back in.
Yeah, I totally think that too. Appreciate you guys being here. We got almost 700 people in the chat right now. Hit that like button. We're going to take 1 second here. Shout out our sponsor, Odds Jam. You guys watch this. We'll be right back in a second. Don't go anywhere. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Meet Odds Jam, your ultimate ally in the world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sports books under its belt, Odds Jam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sports books. This means you can lock in risk-free profits by betting on both sides of the market. But that's not all. OddsJam also provides a positive EV calculator to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to monitor your profits. By using OddsJam, you're not just betting smarter, you're betting responsibly for long-term profitability. And here's the kicker. They offer a 7-day free trial. Are you ready to give it a shot? Use code ACU35 for a 35% discount on your first payment, be it monthly or yearly. Secure your bets with confidence. Make informed decisions with OddsJam.
Woohoo!
Steve, just want to thank OddsJam, man. Those guys have been awesome. They support the channel. That helps us monetarily. That helps us grow. So we appreciate you guys. We invite you, if sports betting is something that you want to do, and I heard that they're legalizing that now in Missouri at one, you can make money with OddsJam, dude. It's awesome. They've got so many cool features on there where you can take several sports books and it will tell you how much. You can say, look, I only have $10, and it'll say, well, put 5 here and 5 here and you're going to win. They will guarantee wins. It's called arbitrage betting. It is so cool. They walked me through it. You can basically just steal money from Vegas. It's incredible. It's fun. So if you're serious about it, go check them out. OddsJam's awesome, man. Good dudes over there. We support it. You can check it in the description below. And yeah, man, appreciate it. Steve, back to the football at
the
hand,
Chiefs,
my man. Back to the Chiefs.
Got the Donkeys coming up. We got the Bills coming up. Got a couple games here. Got a couple games that we need to win.
Yeah, I would say we're sliding into a. Let me look at this schedule really quick. Let me pull out the old handy notebook. Look at this. Look at this handy notebook.
We have a smaller version.
No, I'm pulling out the big version.
Look, hold on. Look, I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so right here, we are at the Donkeys at 11:10, right?
Yes, we're at
so
the
Donkeys, then the Bills. Then we get to take a bit of a breather with the Panthers and the Faders, but it's still divisional, so you can't take too much of a breather with the Faders. And then the Chargers, so 2 divisional games back-to-back. And then you go into the Browns, which should be a dub. And then you play...
Steelers are going to be going for playoff spots.
Well, you got the Texans, too. So you get the Texans and the Steelers, both playoff teams in the AFC. And then, of course,
this schedule just don't get much easier, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I just don't think you've got many weeks that you can just let your hair down. You're not going to be able to do it even versus the Panthers. We all know how that game's going to go.
Right.
The Panthers are going to play the best football they've played in 3 years, and it is going to be a one-score game, and we're all going to literally be sitting here all day long saying, are we about to drop one to the Panthers, dude? Is this about to happen? Jeez. Like, you already know.
Well, it's funny because, like, I can't remember who it was, sorry, but mentioned the 16-0. I think it might have been Perry or somebody. I can't remember. But that's the thing, man. Like, we're getting ready to hit the back half of this schedule, which is crazy that we're halfway through the entire season already. It seems like it just begun.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, dude.
I mean, there are some big-time games on the back half of this. Like you said, you got the Panthers, and then, of course, if you look in, and you got the Browns. That's it. The rest of them, I think, are going to be tight games. They're going to be drag out games. You got the Donkeys this week. We done talked about divisional. It'll be scrappy. It'll be close. Then you turn around and you're playing the Bills in Orchard Park, who absolutely hate you. So they're going to give you their best shot. So, I mean...
Do you think that's fun? Do you like it? Do you think it's fun, or do you think it sucks that if your stadium was in Orchard Park? Does Orchard Park sound intimidating? It sounds like you're getting ready to take a stroll and a picnic. It's like, let's head down to Orchard Park today.
It's definitely a family atmosphere. You throw the blanket down, you get the little basket
and then you watch just a bunch of drunk dudes without shirts, like breaking tables.
Right. It's so weird.
What a misleading little thing they have going there.
But
it's
yeah,
like, come on down to Ferry Station.
The Bills hate the Chiefs at this point. So, I mean, they're going to give them their best shot. And then after that, you got more divisional games, and then you got the Texans and the Steelers. So, I think it's going to be a tough back half of the season. And now that's something that we talked about too, and it kind of correlates with this. So the defense has kind of always historically been under Spags a better last half of the season and playoff team.
Yeah.
So the defense so far has been good, very good. One of the top defenses in the league. So what do you think that's looking like going forward? Do you think the Chiefs do continue to progress defensively the way that Spags teams always do? Do you think they find a next level? And if that's the case, if they find a next level, do they become the best defensive team in football?
Yeah. To answer the question, I do think the defense continues to get better. Will the defense take that extra step that you usually see that just they turn them like we just go off the stratosphere? I don't know, because we started so strong. Like, how much better could we possibly be? I know a lot of people were just irate that Brett Veach couldn't get a deal done for a corner at the trade deadline. A lot of people wanted Lattimore. They were just set on Lattimore, Steve. And I don't think me and you ever thought Lattimore was a possibility. Like, it probably was a possibility.
They
had talked about it, but did you really expect it? I think most people probably didn't. I thought Brett Veach actually done way more at the trade deadline this year than you'd have ever thought he was going to.
Yes.
So to just be like, hey, we're going to get Lattimore too, like that just felt like a pipe dream.
Well, I think after Uche, I was like, I don't think they're going to do corner.
Right. But the addition of Uche is not going to be unfelt, in my opinion, by the end of the year. I think that that's going to come on. Now, look, this corner room, a lot of people get scared by it. A lot of people don't. I know last week there was a few people come out on X and said, if you watch the game, they were just picking on players that wasn't McDuffie. They were just picking on them. And it just was not true, I don't think. In my opinion, it wasn't true. Seth Kaiser actually done a huge write-up about that today. I actually want to go read his write-up. He's going to address that situation and see if they were full of crap or if they're just picking on people or if it was really a thing. And I trust Seth Kaiser because he's going to watch the film and break it down. I'm excited to go see that and see how it pans out.
Right.
But from what I see, I didn't see that big of a downgrade. Look, I know Jalen Watson was good, and he is great, like at times. But there's also times this year Jalen Watson got burned a few times in the first few weeks.
Well, he's a young cornerback.
He's missed a few tackles in his day. Like, don't get that twisted. Like, this dude is not L'Jarius Sneed Part 2. Like, nobody is. But was playing at a high level. But I think Nazeeh Johnson and Josh Williams both have capabilities. It's just one of those things where they're young, they're inexperienced. You're going to take lumps as a corner. I'm just not that concerned about the corner spot that much.
Well, a lot of people are under the impression that Brett Veach ignored the corner need. And I'm on the other side of the fence. I think that he did exactly what he needed to do. He took care of the cornerback room. And how did he do that?
By going out and getting a pass rush.
He went out and got Josh Boucher. And then, of course, we have Charles Omenihu coming back. So at this point, with George Karlaftis on the other side,
so he helped
Chris
it
Jones
indirectly.
Exactly. I think that's what it was. It was like, what do we do? Do we go out and overpay for a corner, or do we beef up this pass rush for literally pennies? And then all of a sudden, they have to cover for 2 seconds less every play. Like, I really do think that Josh Williams, Nazeeh Johnson, they will be just freaking fine. Like, they're going to be fine, especially if you start getting more pressure on the quarterback.
Steve, Chris Jones, through the first 9 weeks of the season, is the #1 defensive interior pass rusher. A 91 grade from PFF. Okay.
Who is that?
This is Chris Jones. But this is why I think they went out and grabbed Uche. Because over the past 3 weeks, okay, and Uche did play this past week, but the 2 weeks prior, Chris Jones has been getting held in check. And I think it's because besides him getting held in check, it's one of those things where George Karlaftis has been playing pretty well, and I think he's playing better over the past few weeks because Chris Jones they're putting so much attention on Jones. But Jones, he scored a 91 all year, but over the last 3 games, man, he's only had a pass rushing grade of a 69.3. That is very, very low for Chris Jones. That may be the lowest 3-game total pass rushing stretch he's ever had in his career. So that just shows you all the assets they are throwing at Chris Jones, because a lot of teams are seeing that is the only guy they have to worry about. Like, they're taking their chances letting George Karlaftis just go. They're taking their chances with one-on-one matchups with Karlaftis. Now, look, the more Karlaftis wins and the more he eats, you've got to start reconsidering that. But it's that old adage of, well, if we take Michael Jordan out of the game, we let everybody else beat us. So they're saying, look, if we take Chris Jones out of the game and everybody beats us, fine. So I think that getting back Omenihu, trading for Uche, I think that's big because you start doubling him, and then you can't double George, and you can't double
Charles.
Yeah, Charles Omenihu. You can't double Uche all the time. I think that's what they're doing, and
I like it though.
Not to toot. But I was saying all the way back in the offseason, I felt the defensive line needed a little bit of help.
Squeeze it.
No, I'm not going to, because I don't know if it, maybe it was just a feeling that just showed up. I don't know, but I just felt that our defensive line always could have had a little bit of upgrade, especially since Omenihu was going to be out for 10 weeks. I just felt like that should have been something they addressed.
I think it's going to be something that when you look back at the end of the season where it's like, man, Brett Veach is a wizard. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. I really do think that because you start getting more of a pass rush on these teams. They have less time to think. They have less time to throw the ball. You're disrupting constantly. I think, like, that's the thing. Like, Josh Williams, a lot of people are really down on him right now, and that's the thing. Normally when Josh Williams gets beat in coverage, it's on longer, drawn-out plays. Like, if it's not, he's normally pretty sticky. He's very physical. He's long. He's fast. He's normally where he needs to be. Occasionally, he'll get out of position. And that's something that I think he can work on.
I also want to say how many times, the sentiment of Chiefs Kingdom is Josh Williams gets burned. He gets burned so many times. Steve, can you name how many plays Josh Williams has got burned on this year?
No, I mean, the only one that sticks out to me, honestly, is a touchdown. I can't remember which team it was.
It was Burrow week 2.
Yeah, it was how do you say his name? Ishavash.
Burrow had 6 seconds in the pocket.
He had 6 seconds, and that guy made a nice little cut move and kind of got Josh Williams tripped up.
It was a streak play.
Yeah. So,
dude,
that's it.
Josh Williams, look, you can get burned without them throwing the ball to you. But that happens all the time. He didn't give up a touchdown versus the Bucs. Trent McDuffie did.
And that's not even Trent McDuffie.
I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm just trying to say that, look, these guys both were targeted 4 times. They both give up the same amount of yardage. 18 yards for Josh Williams, 15 for McDuffie. So I don't know where he gets burned a lot comes in, because he's literally had two times this year has Josh Williams give up a play of 15-plus yards, I think. Maybe once at 15-plus. Because I want to say this time it was only like a 13 or 14-yard completion. And again, it's in zone. It's always zone every time with this guy. I don't know if he's losing the zone or these other, like, sometimes don't you just got to put it on a quarterback and a receiver that if you can beat a zone, you're just going to beat a zone. Like, I don't think it means the defender stinks.
I think a lot plays into the fact that he did not win the cornerback 2 job. Like, Jalen Watson won it pretty handily, so people automatically.
Dude, I'm not saying in any world right now at this point in their careers, Jalen Watson is head and shoulders above where Josh Williams is.
He's definitely developed faster.
Yes, he's developed faster, and it is what it is. But then to just look at Nazeeh Johnson and Josh Williams and be like, yeah, they're both just complete garbage. I'm not buying it. Like, why do we have to jump to that as Chiefs Kingdom so quickly? Like, let some people develop. Now, look, we stuck up for Sky Moore, and, I mean, he bit us in the ass. So
Sky Moore stinks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's true. But isn't it easier to say, though, that a guy stinks? Because the chances that you're going to be a very good NFL football player is very minuscule. So just everybody that gets drafted, just say they stink, and you got about a 90% chance to win that argument at the end of their career.
Julia Goulia said just fixing stupid penalties like Jawan Taylor. Like, Josh Williams could be a little smarter at times.
Yeah, I think he's got hit with, what, 2? He got hit with a hands to the face or a holding 2 weeks ago, and then this time he got hit with a horse collar, which, by the way, should have been offsetting because he was getting held the entire time. Yeah. Somebody even pointed that out. They were like, dude, his jersey was getting ripped off of him the whole time. They should have called that first. So, but you also got to remember, like, with that a horse collar, he gets him on the ground. Technically, I guess you could say horse collar, even though I don't think he had the inside, which I think now, though, if you grab the jersey, they call it.
Yeah,
it used to be inside the pad.
Anywhere by that nameplate.
So look, just say he don't do that. Say he just can only get an arm on him, can't get him. What if the guy runs through it and takes it to the house for 7? Yeah. We lose that game. So sometimes you're a little grateful for those kinds of penalties, huh?
Yeah, Lone Wolf says, yeah, most of Chiefs Kingdom told you all Sky Moore sucked. It's funny. That's true. It is true, but most of Chiefs Kingdom told us that L'Jarius Sneed sucked.
Yeah,
most of Chiefs Kingdom told us that Charvarius Ward sucked.
A lot of Chiefs Kingdom wanted Spags fired.
Yeah, Spags sucked.
About a year and a half ago,
terrible.
Spags sucked.
Like, so yeah, I can't go by that.
And again, you also got to say this too. This is 2 guys. There's at any given time there could be 30, 40,000 people tuning in with an opinion. So of course, there's always going to be somebody out there with the right. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you can't defend yourself versus 50,000 or 100,000, whatever it is. Chiefs Kingdom is vast. There's millions out there. Like, somebody's always going to be right about something.
Right. I never get this dude's name right. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure he's told us how to say it before, but it's been a long time and I'm old. I'm going with Demetrio. He says Josh Williams will be all right. He's played in too many big games, and that's something I want to talk about too. Josh Williams may not be the best corner. He may not be the most fundamentally sound corner. But Josh Williams has been in big situations ever since he came into the league. That whole cornerback group got thrown right into the fire right off the bat.
First year, man,
And
they all got hit with it.
They've played in big-time games. They have experience under their belt that a lot of other corners their age do not have, and I think that goes a long way. So shout out on this comment. I think that people need to think about that a little bit. I think plus another thing is like we talked about, Jalen Watson's been the one that they chose to go with cornerback 2 role. He won that job outright, and he's been on the field a lot. Josh Williams has played pretty sparingly, so the more he plays, the more he gets comfortable, the better he's going to be.
Yeah, I think he's just too quick to give up on people like that. But like, look, I would totally have a different tune if you would look at Josh Williams' stat line from last week and he had allowed, 5 catches on 5 attempts for 80 yards and a touchdown. I'd have been like, okay, something's got to go. Like, what's going on? But Andy comes out of the game and Andy says, number 2 was fine out there. I thought he looked okay. Then Spags come out and says, he looked okay. There's some technique. Coaches aren't going to blow smoke up your ass, okay? Like, there's always something to work on. They're telling Mahomes there's something to work on. He's the best player to ever play the game. But every week they're going to come out and say, hey, man, you got to get your footwork right. You got to do this, you got to do that. There's always something. So I just choose not to want to hate on somebody just for
Same way.
But my thing is, I feel like it's
right
piling
now, right?
on a little bit. Well, Felix is a guy that has maybe escaped the pitchfork crowd.
I don't know. Did he sneak out the back door?
Yeah, like he's not there yet. But at the beginning of the season, he was a bust after 1 year. He was a bust after a game last year. So many people didn't, and the pitchfork crowd, blah, 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 blah. But I've not heard much about Felix over the past few weeks, and he's not really lighting the world on fire or anything. Right. I just feel like maybe he's lulled him to sleep a little bit.
Right. Well, while we're
maybe that's the key.
While we're on the defensive subject, though, I want to bring up something. Do you see a culture shift in that defense and over the last couple of years? Like, I feel like we are getting back to physical smash mouth. We are going to hit you football. Like, we have Justin Reed and Brian Cook and Jaden Hicks in that, and Chamari Connor. I can't forget him. They all will hit you right in the mouth. They make big hits constantly. Then you got Leo Chenal. You got Hit Stick Nick. Like, we're out there hitting teams hard this year. And I think that we're back to that football to where you have to think about going across the middle. You have to think about certain things because you will get absolutely rocked by this defense. Like, I feel like they have a different intensity than even the last, 3, 4, 5 years of Chiefs defense as far as that goes. I feel like they're just more physically dominating than others are. And not to mention, they're just better all around, I think.
Did you mention Jaden Hicks, right?
Yeah.
Jaden Hicks is a guy that Chiefs Kingdom wants to see more of.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's a little honey badger.
Yeah, he is. But isn't it one of those things where it's like, you might just want to just take the way Spags is playing him. You might just want to slow roll the guy. Because it would only take him to come in and miss 1 or 2 tackles, miss a coverage, and then the pitchfork crowd's going to get him. So let's let the dude develop a little bit. I think it would be fine. But, yeah, I'm right there with you.
They'll get him.
Yeah, they'll get him. Dude, he gives up 1 completion, it's done. You got to be perfect in this, with this fan base. It's perfection. But what's funny, though, if I say, after a game, if we lose and we're like, we got to do this and this and this, people's like, you're negative. You're not allowed to ask for perfection.
You can't critique the team as a whole. You have to critique one guy, poor guy.
You just got to just destroy one dude's soul.
Who's having the worst time of their life right
now?
Let's
the worst?
Let's pile on.
Whose life sucks? Let's pile on that guy and get him to go fly off of a building somewhere.
Rick Martinez says we got these bell ringers, baby. That's what they're doing. They're out there just knocking peanut heads over and over again, dude.
Dude, I think it's fun to watch that. It's fun to watch guys actually hit because in today's age of football, hitting is frowned upon, man. Defenses are frowned upon. I think I posted that yesterday, and I don't know if you've seen this. Let me bring this up because this is kind of a telling thing, in my opinion. Look at this. Playing defense in the NFL is harder it's ever been, and playing corner is extra tough. Through 9 weeks of the NFL season, teams are combining for 45.4 points per game, which is the second highest total in NFL history, only trailing 2021's 46.8 per game. So think about that. Since 2021, you have now just a 3-year gap, we've had the 2 highest teams total scoring per game, which means scoring's going up, defenses are getting harder, all the rules are shifting to the offense. They want an offensive game. Quarterbacks are averaging 91.7 passer rating, which is 5th all time this season, and 65.3 completion percentage, which ranks 3rd all time. So if that doesn't tell you how hard it is to cover people in this league with all the rules, you can't put your hands on anybody, you can't touch them, you can't do anything. Like, you can't even tackle quarterbacks a certain way. You have to put them on a pillow. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. We handcuff defenders and we handcuff corners. We handcuff everybody. And then we expect them to just be elite, like these corners passed. And it's like, you're never going to have a Richard Sherman-esque corner probably again, because if you go back and watch, Sherman got away with holding all the time. But they're just going to continue to shift these rules, in my opinion, to allow for higher scoring games. That's what people want to see. People don't want defensive battles. It's boring.
No,
it doesn't make good
true.
TV.
That's what the NFL's kind of tried to go to, right? I mean,
Right. It's almost like they're trying to turn it into an arena football league.
Everybody
Because we've seen how well that worked out.
It's no secret. It's no secret. But yeah, I like the way this defense is shaping up. I do, and I think we're just fine at corner. I don't think anybody should worry. I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, and I've totally shot you out if I can remember who it was, but I saw a comment, or it might have been an email. I'm not for sure, but they were saying that they thought a sensible move for cornerback would just be adding a depth piece, going ahead and adding one more depth piece. And they were like, what about Khalif Hallisey, who had such a good run with the Chiefs, and now he's sitting on the practice squad of the Browns?
Look, for everything that everybody wants to point out that we miss on.
Right.
Because everybody only remembers the things that you get wrong. You know, you were wrong about Scott Moore. You were wrong about blah, 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 blah. Well, we were right about 4,000 other things that nobody will ever say. But Khalif Hallisey was one that we said should have made the team last year. You thought he was a perfect Spags prototypical corner. Mm-hmm. And we should have never got rid of him last year. And look, lo and behold, this year, you needed him, huh?
Right. And they were saying, hey, what if you just went and got him off of the Browns practice squad and had him for a depth piece? And I think that's pretty sensible. I think
it's a decent idea, right?
It makes a lot more sense than going out and signing Herbie Howard or whatever his name is.
I honestly think that they think Keith Taylor is just as good as Khalif Hallisey would be. If this fly doesn't go away, I'm about ready to
I'm watching
stab everything.
Mike, I've been watching it just harass you for the last 10 minutes.
One freaking fly has been the bane of my existence for like 6 years. It will not die. Like, I'm about ready to turn off every bit of the heat, every bit of everything in my house to try to freeze this thing out and kill it. I don't know what else to do.
Have you ever seen that episode of Breaking Bad where they're just chasing the fly the entire episode?
That's it. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I'm chasing this dude around. And look, it's fitting because we have 666 people watching right now. This is Satan's fly. Okay. The devil's trying to come at me.
Hey, speaking of, hit the like button real quick. Let's try to get it past that 666, okay?
That's not how many likes. That's just how many.
No, that's what I'm saying. Just get this out to more people. We got to get more people clicking on the video.
It dropped below it. We're good.
No, we're good. We're at 672.
Yeah. Hey, don't expect it to go up. Expect it to go down.
Look, I want to see how many likes we're at. We're at 130 likes. Let's try to get that to 200. Let's get the likes to 200. And I bet you naturally, if we can get the likes to 200, so if you haven't hit the like button yet, go hit that. Naturally, we'll go up over 700 people.
Also, by the way, if you get it to 200, we'll give away another poster because guess what? Oh, Mike got into mail. I got some new poster tubes so I can start shipping these bad boys out again. So if you want a poster, we'll give that away at the 200 mark. I like doing these midday lives, Steve. I think it's fun. I think we get a little bit of a different crowd in here than what we get when we go at nighttime sometimes.
Yeah, what's weirder? An ACU noon live stream or a Chiefs noon game?
Both. I think it's
we're
equally
getting you both
strange.
This week, baby. We're getting the early birds taken care of this week.
You get a different vibe in the chat. I think you get a lot of different people. A lot of people just get secluded, but a lot of people like to watch. Maybe put in a little AirPod and listen while they're at work. You know, It helps the day go by quicker. I would enjoy it if I were at work. I'd be fine. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, I'd pop in it wasn't AirPods back then. What were they?
Something.
It was just
Do you have your Walkman?
It was a Walkman. I had a cassette deck where I would tape 810 and just go in and listen to it on the Walkman.
I remember several years ago just listening to Ryan Tracy.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I'd
every once
pop
in a while,
an
you'd
AirPod
flip on
in
RGR
and,
or something.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good time, something to get you through the day, and plus, I mean, why not? Why not talk about the Chiefs and listen about the Chiefs, man? What's better?
Look, nothing better than two idiots talking about the Chiefs.
Yeah, Witchy says that it's a mini drone spying on you, Mike. That's what that fly is.
Yeah, I want to know where it's coming from, though.
A Bengals super fan owns it.
Is it a Bengals fan?
Yeah.
Dude, it's landed on my second monitor. I'm about ready to throw something at it to see if I could kill it. But I'm also debating on not breaking my second monitor. Here we go.
Got it.
Dude, I did.
Did you kill him?
Did I beat Satan Fly? Oh, let's go.
Whoa.
Satan Fly. Popping bottles out here, baby. Dude, when you can take down... I'm wet now. Horribly. But let me tell you something.
Why would you say such a thing?
I don't know, man.
You horned up.
I just beat up Satan Fly and I'm feeling good. Dude, when you can pop Satan Fly across the room with a pink Post-it note, you know that, hey, the good Lord's on your side, baby. I'm fired up right now, Steve. I want to go to Kmart and kick a fat kid.
Do it. I'm with you. We'll go to Walmart. We'll find the guy without the shoes on, and we'll kick him. I'm okay with it.
I lost the bottle top, man. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm calmed down now.
So we've been pretty in depth on the Chiefs' defense so far. So let's shift this over to the offense, Mike. Let's shift it over to the part of the ball that everybody loves, likes to talk about the fancy pants.
And we wonder why the NFL's swaying it for the offenses.
Right. The flashy guys.
Let's talk about the flash.
Let's talk about it. So we've discussed the defense and how they could go to another level. I think the offense is in the exact same position. The exact same position. We're going to be on our third game with DeAndre Hopkins. This guy has gone mad in his 2 weeks with the team. He's proven that he is the receiver that everybody thought he was. He still is that. He's not too old. He's not this, he's not that. He's literally the receiver that everybody thought he was. There was probably a 5-year stretch in his career where he was the outright best receiver in football, if not longer than that. And it wasn't close. And then over 12 years, or how many ever years he's been in the league, he's proven that he's always the best receiver on his team, no matter where he's at. He's a future Hall of Famer. We have a nice piece that Patrick Mahomes has never had in his entire career. He has never had a guy on the field like DeAndre Hopkins. Travis Kelce has not got to play with a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. The closest thing to that is Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill and DeAndre Hopkins are not exactly in the same, style or anything like that. So I think this offense could definitely hit another level just because of Hopkins. And that's not counting some of the guys that we may be able to get back from injury later and stuff like that, like Juju and maybe even Hollywood Brown late in the season. But so is it fair to say that, like, it's just like the defense? I think they could hit a whole nother level in this back half of the season.
Yeah, I think the offense is more primed for a bigger breakout than the defense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I think with the defense, it kind of feels like the defense, but besides the pass rush getting a little better and maybe the corner room kind of like getting more in position and just being a little more locked down, I don't know what everybody's expecting. Like, we're never a big turnover corner group, right? It doesn't seem to. I mean, McDuffie's played now for almost 2 full years and never even got a pick. So it's just not something that, like, we rely on a lot. Our safeties rarely get interceptions. It's been a while, man. Who's had the last interception? Maybe Brian Cook?
Wasn't it? Well, he had one. Didn't Reed have one recently? Or no, he dropped one maybe.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where our corners never really get a lot of turnovers for us or anything like that. But, yeah, I think the offense is more primed because I think you're going to get more D-Hop. You're going to get Pacheco back. I think Pacheco coming back actually helps in a way because if you're on the side of the think tank that believes that Kareem Hunt's maybe older, needs more rest, well, Pacheco gives it to you though, right? So now you can keep Kareem Hunt a little bit more fresh. So, with Hollywood maybe coming back, Juju's the tough one. It feels like he could come back, and then in 2 weeks he could be right back.
And that's fine because he's your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4,
Yeah.
so it's not like detrimental. Plus, McCole Hardman actually stepping up and playing some decent football could go a long way. I mean, I've gave McCole Hardman all 9 kinds of hell over his career, but at times he can flash. Let's get some consistency there, McCole, and I might be more your buddy. But here's the thing: like a lot of people want to talk about the left tackle. So on defense, you have your corner position where everybody's like, man, we got to do something about corner. On offense, you have the left tackle. Everybody's like, we got to do something about left tackle. Mm-hmm. And is it the same kind of formula? Like, did Brett Veach supplement that left tackle position by getting a nice, well-rounded running game to help, where the defense can't just pin their ears back every play? Is that kind of the same play where on defense he was like, you know what, I'll beef up the pass rush and it's going to help the corners? Is it kind of that indirect thing there? Is he like, we can't go out and get some random left tackle in the middle of the season. There's just not no one available. Like you can bring up Bakhtiari, but the guy obviously does not want to play football. There's a reason why teams don't want him. Something's going on there. So it's like you're kind of stuck with Wanye and Kingsley, and I don't think that's a terrible thing. So what do? You beef up the run game. Now you're rushing for 100 yards a game. Then you got this pass game back intact where you got D-Hop out there and Travis Kelce on the field at the same time, giving defenses fits. And you still got Xavier Worthy who can blow the top off of everything. So it's just like, do you think that's kind of the idea they had there? Should we worry about left tackle?
Man, that left tackle is just... That whole position, just from the start of everything this year in the offseason, has just felt like I don't know. What does it feel like to you? It just feels like there was never an actual plan, because I feel like if there was an actual plan, you would have just stuck to the guy you drafted. Or if you really wanted to just use Wanye, why did you even draft one?
That's me, dude. That's me. And obviously Andy Reid, Andy Hecker are a lot smarter than I am. I would have just stuck with Kingsley.
Say that again.
I would have just stuck with Kingsley. But it is what it is. Like, I thought eventually...
the fact that they didn't bring in any, like, outside veteran help, right? Even a veteran to just come into practice and teach you how to practice, to teach you how to just set up properly, how to do this, do that. Like, Kingsley's not had that.
No, man. He got a little taste of it, and they were like, nope. You're out. You weren't an all-pro tackle in your first 2 games. You got to go. Like it was a game and a half.
We wonder where Chiefs Kingdom gets that commitment to excellence from, huh?
No, I think those 2 there, somebody's going to work out. I have full faith in that. Like, honestly, I thought maybe eventually Jawan Taylor's getting paid too much, right? I thought eventually they were looking to have Kingsley on the left, Wanye on the right, something of that nature. They could still go with something like that. I don't know. But just want to take a second to say that we are over 1,000 people right now across the 3 platforms. So appreciate you guys. If you haven't hit the like button yet, do that. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, what in the hell are you waiting for? You're going to get all the best Chiefs content right here. So please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers. That was the goal set. 50,000 subscribers before the Super Bowl. And it's going to be a tough one. So if you haven't done that yet, please help your boys out.
It's a grind, man. YouTube is it's an ever-changing platform. For some reason, YouTube is it's trying to mimic TikTok like you wouldn't believe. Like, so everything about it is just trying to take TikTok. I don't know why. Like, YouTube is like a world dominator compared to TikTok. So I don't know why you would change yourself to be like the inferior little brother.
Yeah, I don't think they are. I think they're just, you continuously have to innovate. I think if YouTube itself, just in my opinion, if they could get away from favorites, if they could somehow, like, do more for everyone as a whole and not just I'm making money here, I'm making money here, I'm making money here. I think it could be a much
better. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's a money game. But yeah, man, I think this game this week is what I'm excited about with this week. Is I'm excited to see if the defense can possibly force a few more turnovers than what we've seen. Because
we need that. Yeah.
Bo Nix is a guy that's, you would say he doesn't want to turn the ball over. Like, he's more like a game manager. But I feel like Bo Nix is still at that rookie kind of like he might press a little bit. and Spags may confuse him a little bit. So I would love to see maybe a couple defensive turnovers, and I want to see a nice, complete game. And I know he's trending in the right direction. But this is why I say it. Mahomes, I want to see Mahomes have a good game versus the Broncos, because I feel like every time he plays the Broncos,
he struggles.
it's a very struggle bus kind of game. He's always sick,
but
there's always something going on with him.
They don't
I would
have
just love
Justin
to see him come out and
Simmons
crush
now,
him.
so that's a plus.
Yeah, Simmons is out. Well, he's already threw his obligatory pick to him this year.
Right. I think one of the best games I've ever seen Mahomes play against the Donkeys was the snow game. Pretty sure. So maybe if we can just get back to that. If we could get some snow on the
Maybe
field.
we get some snow out there.
Let's get
It's
some
supposed to
snow
snow.
going. That's not.
This one's at Arrowhead, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Brent, yes, he is 12-1 against the Donkeys, which is funny that we have to talk about that. But yeah, Mahomes tends to lose his mind a little bit against the Donkeys.
He never has the big like blowout, nice padding
To be
numbers
fair,
versus the Broncos.
usually the Broncos, even in their weakest of times, they normally try to pad that defense up and have a decent defense, though.
Yeah, that's what they tend to do.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. I think.
So
I think
here,
it'll be a good game.
Mahomes has played 13 games versus the Broncos in his career. 3,500 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, but he's threw 11 picks. So he's 19 touchdowns to 11 picks. And his passer rating's only about a 93.3, which is about 30, 40 points shy of being perfect. So, I mean, just holding them to excellence. That's just what we're doing, right? It's the name of the game, hold them to excellence. No, I kind of want to see individual games versus the Broncos. Like, has he had a 350, 400-yard passing game? He's had a 340-yard game versus the Broncos. That was back the fifth game he ever played versus Denver. And then about 4 games ago, he had 352. 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 3 picks that game. So
Right.
We'll see, man. He's only had 5 games. I take that back. 5 games out of the 12 versus the Broncos where he's never threw a pick. So think about that. 5 out of 12 games is all that Mahomes has never threw a pick versus the Broncos. So the Broncos always tend to try to confuse him, throw a lot at him. They got a good defense usually.
I would be interested if you went through Mahomes' entire career and you took out the interceptions that were from batted balls and from wide receiver drops, how different that would look. Because I feel like he's very unfortunate when it comes to
Probably a lot.
Now,
dude.
don't get me wrong. Mahomes will throw it into triple coverage straight to the other team a lot of the time, and that's on him. But I feel like half of his picks are just like fluky stuff. Like just weird things happen, it seems like. So, whatever, though. I feel like our luck's been pretty good, so I can't complain. Did
you know October 17th, 2019, that was the game. That was the game where Patrick Mahomes hurt his kneecap, wasn't it?
Mm.
I was going to say, I just seen it now. He only completed 10 passes out of 11 attempts for 76 yards. Dude, that was wild that was all the way back in 2019. It's been 5 years since that.
Yeah.
Time flies, don't it?
Mike, they haven't ran a quarterback sneak in 5 years.
Ran a quarterback sneak in 5 freaking years, dude.
They said he don't have the knees for it. He's too old.
Andy would rather what would Randy what would Andy rather do than run a quarterback sneak? He would rather eat a salad over a cheeseburger than run a quarterback sneak.
He might go an entire week without a cheeseburger before he would run a quarterback sneak.
He may jog on the treadmill.
He might.
I feel like Andy's got a lot more fit, though, I feel like. Do you feel like Andy went through a fit phase?
No.
He lost a little weight, man. He was looking slim and nice there for a little while.
Yeah. Okay.
You think Andy's like, you think his coaching power comes from his mustache, or does it come from his, like, Santa physique?
Mustache.
I feel like if he wasn't like a jolly Andy, though, like it would be different. Like imagine if Andy was just like a little skinny prick like Nick Sirianni.
Yeah. Man, I can't stand that guy. Like everyone hates Nick Sirianni.
Does anybody like Nick Sirianni?
Even Eagles fans hate Nick Sirianni.
I don't even think his own wife likes him.
No one likes him.
She
His
actually
children
started a
don't like
petition
him.
to get him fired.
His own mother don't like him.
His own mother said, "Out of my house." She kicked him out at the age of 6.
She said, guys, I'm sorry for giving birth to a douchebag. But no, man, having Andy's just that was the best move that the Chiefs as a franchise have ever made.
I agree. I remember
was
when it
getting
happened,
Andy
man.
Reid.
I was sitting at Roosters having a chicken wing.
Yeah, you've
And
told
I
the
wrote
story
Pops,
before.
and I said, Pops, they're going to hire Andy Reid tonight. I feel it. And he said, they would
Fill it
never
with my
do
plums,
that.
baby.
He said, they would never do that because that's a good move. Because Pops from the old school Chiefs, where everybody sucks all the time. Like they never thought they were getting out of
Jaded,
the hole.
mad.
Yeah, he never thought he would ever see a winning season. Even he lived through the Vermeil era, the
No, there's
Marty
plenty of
Ball
winning
era.
seasons. There was no, you're not winning.
Yeah, like he just never thought he was going to see. Like I think Pops thought he could have. They may have figured out a way for people to live to be 300 years old before he would have seen a Super Bowl in his lifetime.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you what, it was like you go through Vermeil and all that, like in the 90s, Marty and everything, right? That's one thing. But when you got to the Todd Haley era, and then you like the end of the Matt Castle, you got Tyler Palco out there just looking like complete dog water, just ass cheeks, man. That team was awful. I think that point, which I think was probably like 2009, 8, something like that. Like maybe that's the point where they were just like, you know what, this is never going to happen. They
Right.
are literally dog shit. Like this is not ever going to happen.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty wild.
And then Andy Reid comes in and saves the day.
For real. We're going to be here for just a little while longer, probably 30 minutes or so, whatever. But we're going to take just a 2-minute break here. We're going to let you guys take a look at Manta Sleep. They sent us some beautiful sleep masks in the mail, my man. And these are amazing, by the way. Let me pop this bad boy out so you can see it. Look at this sleep mask they sent me. This is incredible.
They sent me one too, didn't they?
Yeah, I've got it right here. Dude, it is so beautiful. But we're going to shout them out, and we're going to work with them throughout the season. They're awesome.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. We're going to be
Very
back.
pleased by the product. But take a look at this ad here from Manta Sleep. It is incredible, and we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Today's show is sponsored by Manta Sleep Mask. You got to check this out. This sleep mask is going to change your life. We all know how important sleep is for recovery. And if you want to be at your best physically and mentally, you got to get some sleep. And not just any sleep. You got to get some high quality sleep. We weren't big believers in sleep masks. I thought they were going to be too big, too hot, too bulky. But Manta Sleep Mask changed that perception for me. These sleep masks are so comfortable. You can change the cup around your eye and find a custom fit. That way the mask finds your comfortability. With these pillows around your eyes, you feel zero pressure. And with a 100% blackout technology, you can go to sleep anytime, day or night, no matter how erratic your sleep schedule is. These masks are designed for side sleepers as well, and that is very important. There are so many options that Manta Sleep offers too. One of our favorites is the Manta Sleep Mask Sound. It comes equipped with a razor-thin Bluetooth headphone, again, optimized for side sleepers. The headphones are super easy to adjust, and it just becomes a heavenly submersive experience that blocks out the world and allows you to get some high-quality sleep. You can go with the Sound Mask, the Pro Mask, the Silk Mask, or just the Sleep Mask. You should go check out their website by clicking the link we have provided for you in the description below and read up on which option sounds best for you. But regardless of which mask you choose, use our code ACU10 at checkout and receive a 10% discount that we have secured through Manta Sleep for you, Chiefs Kingdom. We understand how tiring it is defending the back-to-back world champions. We also know there are countless non-football knowers out there talking trash to the Chiefs 24/7, and with these, you can block them out and get rested up for the coveted three-peat. Again, go to the description, find the link, find the mask you want to try out, use code ACU10, and get yourself some of the best sleep you've ever had in preparation of this long football season. Where am I? This is true blackout technology, people.
Look at Mike. Look at you.
The Manta Sleep Mask. I'm telling you, go check that out. Go check their website. They got so many good options on there. Use code ACU10, get 10% off. They're incredible, Steve. I've been trying them out, man. I've got some good naps in, bro.
I wouldn't know.
It's actually
You're wearing two
hurting
of
my
them.
work day.
Are you wearing two?
Yeah, it's actually hurting my work day. One of them has headphones in it. You can actually slide it and listen
Yeah.
to music or waves or whatever you want to do. But
Yeah.
it's awesome. Appreciate Manta for sponsoring
Right.
us.
I want
You guys
to
are
say I
awesome.
appreciate you guys for being here all the time, supporting the channel, and thanks for sitting through things like that. I mean, that's what gets this channel to where it is. It helps us out, and we can put more time into content and everything. So appreciate you guys not going away and doing your thing as a ACU crew. You guys are awesome. So, man, Mike, the freaking Chiefs are 8-0, baby. People keep, now the national media's already clung on to can the Chiefs go undefeated? Like that's the story.
Can the Chiefs?
They're going to be rolling with it from here on out. So let's put it this way: how long is the media going to be talking about this? Obviously, until they lose. But when? That's what I'm saying. When is that?
So when is it going to happen?
Like if you had to, like if you look, we'll bring the schedule back up.
Oh yeah, please get it.
Like where do you think that the Chiefs could be like?
I honestly think the first time that we could actually just choke and pass out in it might be the Bills at Bills. Like we never play the Bills well in the regular season. It's just something that happens. And then if you can get by the Bills, I think you're fine the rest of the year. I think it would almost have to be like a Texans or Steelers matchup. But are we really going to drop another one on Christmas? That feels like not good. So I would have to say it would have to be the Bills or the Texans. And honestly, neither team really scare me. But we just play so bad versus the Bills. And the Bills always just have the media hype. They have the regular season Super Bowl championship banner they want to hang every year. So I would say if you get by the Bills, you got a good chance of running the table.
Yeah. Now the Texans and the Steelers at the very end of the year. That could be a couple, especially the Chiefs don't like playing on Christmas, baby. They're not about it. I thought they would be, but they're not. So we'll see how all that goes. But I think when the Chiefs do take an L, it's going to be because of the Chiefs. It's not going to be because of who they're playing. 100%. I think.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in football.
I don't think the Bills are good enough to beat us. We beat the Bills last year, barring what Kadarius Toney's toenail. Was that last year?
Incident.
That was last year, right?
Yeah, it was.
So I don't think they're better than we are. It's just the Chiefs always can find that one game or two games where they just kind of want to not play.
It happens. It does. I mean, it's a long season, and football's a grueling game. And I mean, like it's got to be tough for them to come out with that intensity every week. But that's what it takes,
dude. Listen, Witchy, she kind of says what everybody thinks. If you was to run an entire year and you lose to the Panthers or the Browns and knock out the undefeated season, would you just what do you do at that point? You just cry a little bit? Is it a silent tear? Do you say it doesn't matter? Secretly, do you just want to just call the league and forfeit the rest of the season? What do you want to do?
I mean, you eat it and you go on, bro.
I mean, obviously, but it doesn't really matter. Like the point of this year's the three-peat, not to get the undefeated season, but come on, you got an undefeated season, you lose to the Browns. That would hurt a little.
Yeah, we can't.
That would hurt a lot, actually.
That's not going to happen. I'm not worried about it. All right, let's talk just a little bit more. We'll touch into this Donkeys matchup real quick. Just a couple more things. Y'all make sure to get your all's questions and stuff in the chat. We'll try to get to you as well. But like I said, we're not going to jump in like super far into the matchup because we'll do that on the tailgate on Saturday night. But just touching on a few things, Mike, I brought up earlier. Do you think that like Pat Surtain is going to shadow DeAndre Hopkins and stuff like that? Is there anything when you're just looking at this matchup? Like obviously we haven't watched Denver Broncos football like we've watched Chiefs football, so we're not like super in depth on that team. But is there anything going into this matchup that you would like to just keep an eye on in general? Like maybe not like super in depth, but just something with the Broncos that you think the Chiefs need to pay attention to?
Yeah, I think you got to pay attention to that defense. I think they're good defense. I think you have to come out with a nice game plan. Mahomes can't come out lollygagging. He can't come out throwing. He can't get back in his old funk. I believe he's taking steps forward. At the beginning of the season, he was struggling a little bit, but I think he's finding his stride a little bit right now. Mm-hmm. It's coming around for him. I think he's played his best few games in a row. I want to see him build off that. I want to see the connection with D-Hop get a little better there. But, yeah, I think you can't underestimate that defense. That defense can literally hold you under 20 points very, very quickly. So – and we know that's been a problem. You get down late in the game, and sometimes our offense doesn't want to put a team away, or they don't want to convert when they need to wrap up a game. There's been some times that they've done this over the past few years. So I think you really have to just find a good game plan. You've got to stick to it, and there's going to be ebbs and flows to it. There's going to be times where, like, you just drive right down on them. Then there's going to be times where you go 3 or 4 drives and punt. You're just going to have to stick to it, and I want to see a healthy dose of Kareem Hunt. I still think you have to continue to do that, and you got to work off of that. I believe when Kareem gets going and you see drives where the offense runs through Kareem Hunt, I believe that that's when you see the Chiefs at their best, and Mahomes and the receivers can play off that. You got to get a little too tight in the box. You can't play that cover 2 over the top crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, let Kareem Hunt be that that guy that beats that for you, and then Mahomes can come in and seal the deal.
I'm right there with you, man. I think that low key, I think the run game is going to be the bread and butter for this Chiefs team throughout the rest of the year. You're going to get excited about the offense with a little more firepower, with D-Hop out there, Kelsey starting to come on, things like that. And you still got the exciting plays you can get from your rookie there. Xavier Worthy, a lot of people's kind of dipping out on Xavier Worthy right now. I think it's a little bit unfair. He's a rookie. He's learning. He's going to make mistakes. But I think overall, I think Xavier Worthy's proven that he can do a lot of different things. So I think the future's bright for him. And I just think even though the offense could get back to, like I said, that quick strike, more firepower, I still think the catalyst for the whole thing's going to be that running game. Kareem Hunt's been just an insane addition to this team. Getting him back's been invaluable.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt just, again, I don't know, did anybody really expect him to come in and just kind of like, it almost feels like he just picks up right where he left off just years ago.
Man, he's been waiting for it. He's been waiting years for this opportunity, though. Like, everyone knows.
Hasn't the offense, when he's on the field and actually producing, the offense kind of feels more like Chiefy in a way.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it. It
just feels comfortable. It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, you know, it's almost like you'd been sleeping in a hotel bed, you know, all this time. And then all of a sudden, Kareem Hunt's back and you're back in your home. You know what I'm saying? It just feels good. Feels right. It's where you're supposed to be. But Kareem Hunt's got to get a ring, baby. He's not got to get a ring. He's had to watch the Chiefs be very successful since he was removed from the team. So he's extra hungry, Michael. He wanted to come in here and get himself a ring.
Sam says Patrick's not being accurate with his passes either, especially to Xavier Worthy. Patrick's kind of had that problem. There's certain wide receivers where Pat does not throw very accurately to them. And so far, it's been the smaller guys that the Chiefs have drafted lately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're not even going to get on the Sky Moore thing because he just sucks and he don't.
Yeah,
listen.
he's going to drop it no matter what. But his quality of pass was one of the lowest on the team.
Right.
Like when it come to
and
throwing.
Is there something to that?
Showing,
I mean, is it
you kind of wonder, is it maybe something to do with like the way they're running routes? Are they not
not pacing themselves correctly?
Is Pat like just not like, is he so used to throwing to Kelsey where you can just kind of flip it anywhere, you know, and you just can't expect it out of these guys? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there are certain guys that Pat just does not find that perfect rhythm with.
And that's okay. He's not going to have the best chemistry with every receiver on the team.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as long as he's got
I
that
would
with
like
Kelsey,
to see him
if he
sure
develops
it up,
that with D-Hop.
Yeah, you can't take an Xavier Worthy in the first round. Look, you can't have a Sky Moore debacle that was a round 2. It was wasted. You can't do that again. You cannot repeat that 3 years later with a round 1 guy. You just can't do it.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think it will either, but you can't let it get to that, right?
Most of the passes and most of the plays that are going to be going to Xavier Worthy are going to be big plays, like they're deep balls. Those are not easy to complete. So, I mean, I think Xavier Worthy does a really good job of tracking a deep ball. I think obviously Mahomes does a good job of throwing them. So it's just a matter of time before they connect on more of those. So, I mean, that's really what Xavier Worthy's here for, right?
Yep. Night Hunter in the house, Steve. We got Night Hunter checking in from, I believe, Cincinnati? Is that where Night Hunter's from?
I don't know.
Sorry, don't buy that Denver's that good. Their wins have come against teams under 500. The ones they played had winning records they lost. I don't think Denver's good either. But Denver does have a good defense, in my opinion.
Yeah. Their offense, they don't have much. I mean, even if Bo Nix is playing top-notch, he's throwing to Cortland Sutton, and that's it. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on.
Sutton does tend to eat up on us, don't he?
He's a good receiver. He's a really good receiver that's been on a crap hole team his entire career. So, I mean, that's really like the main guy you got to watch out for in this offense, in my opinion. Their run game's not that great. Like, what's his name? Javonte Williams or something like that. They thought was going to be like the breakout running back. He just hasn't been able to get it done. Their offensive line suspect. I mean, this is one of those things where it seems pretty lopsided, but once again, every week, man.
Sutton's played in 9 games versus the Chiefs in his career. He's only had 29 catches for 442 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So even as much as it does feel like every once in a while he'll have like a nice game, but the last 2 games he's had 46 receiving yards off 4 catches for a tutty. And then the last game he had 2 catches on 3 targets for 29 and a tutty. So his last 2 games he's put up a touchdown, but the previous 6 games he was blanked. Now, he did have an 87-yard game, a 78-yard game, and a 79-yard game. But there were 2 games back-to-back where he had 15 yards and 13 yards. So he's very Jekyll and Hyde when it comes to playing the Chiefs, huh?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. It should be a fun one. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a noon game. But, I mean, aren't divisional games always fun? Like, even when they're normally grinded out and they're not exactly fun to watch, but I mean, it's always fun building up to it and like, hey, let's go smack the donkeys, you know?
Right. Steve Peter has a fun one here, man. He says, I can only afford 1 jersey. It's tough. Do I get Kareem Hunt or do I get D-Hop? Mm-hmm. You know, I might take D-Hop because it's very rare that you would ever get to think you're going to get a D-Hop jersey.
But you also have to be careful that DeAndre Hopkins can only be here for the rest of the season.
That's true, but I mean, Kareem Hunt, first time he was here, people had to get rid of a lot of those jerseys.
Now that Kareem Hunt's here, as long as he doesn't get in trouble again, I think he might be here for the long haul.
I mean, that's fine. I don't think you can go wrong.
I would lean towards Hunt if you want longevity. If you want like
just to capture a moment in time, D-Hop's kind of sick, actually.
That's what I would do.
Look, or just take your Justin Ross jersey, put some tape over the back of it, and write Hop.
Lone Wolf says, looking ahead towards the 2025 NFL Draft, do you think the Chiefs will double dip at the receiver position?
I don't.
No.
I believe they'll probably get Marquise Hollywood Brown back on a similar deal.
Another 1 year.
Because he didn't earn anything this year that would suffice people giving him big money elsewhere. I think they get D-Hop back. I think D-Hop will come back next year. Now, if we win a Super Bowl and D-Hop retires, that could be a possibility. But
I don't think he will.
But I believe they could get him back again next year. I think next year's receiving corps could be D-Hop and Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice.
It could be nasty.
I think Juju's probably gone next year. I don't think they'll re-sign him long
man.
term.
Imagine D-Hop and Rashee Rice on the field.
But you know Rashee Rice is probably getting suspended next year.
Yeah, but man, think about that for a second. I mean, that could be so nasty. Huh? Yeah, what's up, Enrique out there, my man?
Enrique,
good to see you. Man, noon games are weird, so it's gonna be weird seeing it that the early game. We're so used to primetime games in the past few years. It's just like, what is this? The sun's out. Like, what's going on here?
Well, the sun goes up now at like 5 p.m. here. It's already starting to get depressing.
I like it. I'm good.
I hate it.
Do you really?
Like, dude, I don't want it to be dark at 5:30 in the afternoon. That's the most depressing thing ever. Like, I want to go out and do things.
I've been a little more tired this week. I'll say that.
You stay tired.
I don't know if it's a correlation, but other than that, like, I kind of like it getting dark early.
Dude, I went out to go like hiking yesterday.
Why would you go hiking?
I go and I walk and I do things to stay active and
hike it up.
I go out at 5 o'clock, and by the time I can get there 20 minutes later, it is literally dark. I'm like, I can't even do that today. What's up?
Hiking.
I got to start my day at like 3 a.m. now, like the farmers. We got to get rid of this daylight savings time crap. Like, it's outdated.
It's outdated.
Farmers don't need daylight anymore, man. They got $1 million equipment with lights on it. We don't need daylight.
Enrique says, let's see if we can go 30-plus next Sunday without overtime. What do you think about it, Mike? You think we can? Denver's defense, like you said, they're pretty good. Do you think we can hit over the 30-plus mark without going to overtime?
This Sunday?
Yeah.
Versus Denver?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It would surprise me. Let's put it that way. I think it would surprise me because Denver does have a good defense. That's one thing they got. Let me go check Denver's defensive stats, just 100%.
I'm going to say yes, they can, Enrique. I got to be positive, right?
Steve, you picked the Chiefs over 30 every year or every game. I think you've put the Chiefs over 30. So why stop now?
That's not true. That's not true. Had several games with them in the 20s.
They've allowed 161 points, which is 8th in the league. They're the 5th ranked defense in the league. I'm not for sure how many. Let's see how many teams they've allowed over 30 this year. They allowed the Colts. That was preseason. Never mind. Seahawks, they allowed them to have 26 in week 1. Then it got tight. They got 13 to the Steelers. They allowed the Bucks to put up 26. They allowed the Bucks to only put up 7. 7 on the Bucks, 9 on the Jets. The Raiders only give up 18. They give up 23 to the Chargers, 10 to the Saints, 14 to the Panthers, and then they let the Ravens put up 41. But the Ravens is a different kind of offensive beast. So they did it one time this year. That was the Ravens last week, 41 points.
Yeah.
Maybe you catch them while they're down.
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe you can. We'll see about it. Appreciate you guys being here today, by the way. Please hit that like button on the way out if you haven't. We appreciate you for being here. Also, would like to shout out BetUS for powering this live stream. Appreciate those guys. Also, check out Man to Sleep and Odds Jam as well. And we'll be back Saturday night with a tailgate to really deep dive into the Broncos matchup. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll catch you then, man. Go Chiefs.
Yep, go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.